We have a single, processing operation. Will be located close to the mine. Each of the steps of processing, refining would be done in that one facility. So we remove administration overheads. We remove inter-transport costs. We remove a lot of the difficulties and challenges of having, importing ilmenite feedstock.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Shaun Bunn, the Managing Director of Empire Metals. Shaun, very good to speak with you. You're up with your process flow sheet this morning. Why does Pitfield's flow sheet offer a cost advantage over, say, the sulfate ilmenite route?
Well, there's a number of really key important points that we raise in this RNS. It's quite detailed, but I just want to touch upon the really high level notes that we put out today. Look, starting with the ore body, we know we've talked about it in the past. It's high grade, it's high purity, the weathered ore near surface. I mean, we really do love our mineral, our giant titanium ore body, to be honest. It's never presented us with a challenge that we couldn't overcome. The processing team has developed an incredibly a flow sheet, if you like, that is based on conventional technology. We take advantage of the fact that there's no ilmenite in the ore body. That does really set us apart. We're a tier 1 location, close to infrastructure. The cost structures that we can access are very much world class. So really excited the way the flow sheet has come together.
Shaun, you said the flow sheet is based on proven conventional processing steps. Why is this important?
Well, arguably it offers a great cost advantage. It's not something that we have to reinvent or have bespoke steps in the process. But the key points are, we're using flotation to separate and upgrade the concentrate, get a concentrate from the ore body. We do largely a whole of ore float. And that removes 90% of the gangue. So you're only taking 10% through to the final, the digestion stage. The key point there is that we don't again have any ilmenite, so we don't have this big acid-consuming mineral in the concentrate. So we have a lower acid consumption. We need lower temperature. I mean, that equates to lower energy costs, and we have a vastly smaller iron residue problem to dissolve. So neutralization costs of the residue to offset the acidity. The cost of the tailings facilities are much lower than conventional sulfate ilmenite route.
What are the advantages of having a fully integrated process flow sheet to go forward with, Shaun?
Well, one of the key things here is our minerals are not refractory. So we get with, we're getting high recoveries from the leach. We don't have radionuclides, none of the uranium thorium problems to remove. We've got a low impurity level in the back end of the plant, so it simplifies things. So we've been able to adopt, as I said, conventional processing steps. What's the real wonderful thing about being able to fully integrate these steps under one roof, if you like? We're the only, that differentiates us from every other titanium project I'm aware of, at least. There are only one Western producer that takes, its feedstock, mines the ilmenite, processes the ilmenite into synthetic rutile, and then makes pigment. So we are very, very much different to the conventional ilmenite route. We have a single, processing operation. Will be located close to the mine. Each of the steps of processing, refining would be done in that one facility. So we remove administration overheads. We remove inter-transport costs. We remove a lot of the difficulties and challenges of having, importing ilmenite feedstock from far away and overseas. So we have these big advantages over many of the current industry supply chains. I think really want to point out, this was our goal from the start. when we discovered the ore body, when we discovered these minerals, we set out to find a solution that could allow us to be a whole of ore right through to high value pigment products. And this flow sheet is delivering on that sort of promise that we came to the market with a couple of years ago initially and said, this is what we're going to look like.
What are the next key steps in terms of the project development, Shaun?
Well, now that we've laid out the processing flow sheet steps, as I said, conventional, and we've all tested each of these key steps at a bench scale level. So we're confident in the efficiency, if you like, of the chemistry, of the metallurgy that we're dealing with. What we'll do now is we're going to ramp this up into a more continuous test program. So in the back end of this year, Q3, we'll be moving into continuous piloting of these stages. One of the really exciting things about the flow sheet that we've been working our way through, again, because it's integrated, because it's all connected, we can recycle a lot of the streams. A lot of the, for instance, low acid streams can be returned back to the front of the plant. We recover the acid. We can recover energy from the calcining and use that to reduce costs in other parts of the plant. So we've got this integration of not only the chemistry, but all the other factors that come with it. And one of the most amazing things that we've now, we've identified in our processing route is that we've actually can bring out some alumina. And that was one of the key breakthroughs, I think, that we sort of found a couple of months ago and been working on steadily ever since.
Tell us more about the opportunity for the alumina, Shaun.
Yeah, so what happens is we've advertised in the past. We've explained to the market in the past that our weathered ore body, the body that we're going to be mining and contains the titanium minerals, has a couple of other mineral groups within it. And one of those is an alumina clay mineral. Now, we want to reject that from the front end of the plant. We do that through flotation. And we do that because fundamentally, it would dilute the titanium concentrate. However, it's only natural. It's only highly likely that some of that mineral will creep through with the titanium mineral. That's just normal carryover in the flotation. Rather than continue to try and reject it, what we've discovered is that we can actually extract the aluminium from that material, bring it out of the circuit, and make what is a very high grade alumina oxide product. We're already up to nearly 99% pure alumina, and I can absolutely guarantee you that's a very marketable product. So we're looking at this as an option. It's a co-product. It's not something that we're particularly reliant on in terms of our study progress, but it's a really key advantage. It's pretty obvious to those who follow the titanium ilmenite industry that nobody in the ilmenite industry can make an alumina byproduct. It just doesn't exist in the mineral sands. So very big opportunity for us to add another arrow to the bow, so to speak.
Shaun, congratulations on this latest milestone. I hope you'll continue to keep us updated with your progress.
You're very welcome.
Shaun Bunn, Managing Director of Empire Metals.